Hi, my name is Jessica Gonzalez, and this is my cultural story speech. One of the first instances that I remember feeling stereotyped or really taking notice of that pattern was during my academic life, specifically in high school. I think when I was younger, I never really paid as much as attention to the stereotypes or necessarily really felt it. And at least when I was younger, it always felt like maybe just my own paranoia of someone thinking of me based off a stereotype. But in high school, I started meeting more people who were more direct and who would talk to me in a way that made me just believe it a bit more. It affirmed my suspicions from when I was younger. And in one of the instances that I can remember was in one of my high school courses in physics. It was regular physics, but I remember taking it and people thought I was pretty smart. People would ask me questions. I did really well in the class. I basically almost never had to study for the course. And I remember that there was a student who I was talking to, and I was telling him how I speak Spanish. And at first, he was really shocked. He was surprised. He was like, "Why do you speak Spanish?" And for me, I think it's pretty apparent that I'm Mexican American. And I think if you hear my name, at least my last name, Gonzalez, it's pretty straightforward into being Mexican. But when I was talking to him, he told me how he thought I was Indian. And I've gotten it a lot throughout high school, but it was just like his reasoning that kind of shocked me and that affirmed some of those suspicions that I had when I was younger. And what I mean by this is when he said he thought I was Indian, he said he thought I was Indian because I was smart and I was doing well in the class. And then my classmate who sat next to me, who was not doing as well in the class, he thought he was Mexican. And it was just a strange thing of taking notice of how people have those preconceived ideas in their mind. The belief that some Mexican American students are not as focused into their academics or they don't care as much about their education or even perform as well as people from different backgrounds. And it was just a strange thing because, again, I've gotten a lot that I've been Indian, and some people have kind of given the idea was because I was doing well in these courses, but they never said it so directly like he did. And then it started making me think about more patterns or more instances throughout my younger school life and in high school when I just noticed how people assumed that I maybe wouldn't pull my weight in group projects, or they thought that I could have been like a weak link in just giving me the easier portion. Or again, like they never really paid attention to me in like class discussions or things like that. And again, when I was reflecting in that moment, what he said to me about him thinking I was Indian because I was smart, I remember how in middle school as well, I remember we would have class discussions and I would be partnered with, a lot of smart kids. And it would be the thing where I would try to get a word in and they wouldn't glance at me. It wasn't until I spoke up in class, I gave an answer that the teacher was like, that was a good answer. Only until after then, they started paying attention as to what I had to say. It was just a strange thing where, again, like it felt like I've had to prove myself and prove my intelligence and to show that I was capable in these atmospheres. And it was just those slow patterns and things like that that kind of made me realize how I have been stereotyped and how I can continue to run into instances where people stereotype me. But yeah, those were a couple of my examples from my academic life. Thank you.